Service Indica.
Area, transport people, port area people. At the same time, the coastal area will be also helpful in harnessing the renewable energy, solar energy, wind energy, and everything can be utilized. And conservation of marine life and the ocean. So this has to be developed in such a way that proper environmental clearances environmental issues cannot hamper with the development of the coastal area. Obviously create jobs, reduce poverty and end hunger. These are the goals of sustainable development goals are there. Okay, and if there is any issue, in order to tackle the plastic pollution is there, we have to tackle the marine pollution. Coastal communities are to be protected from the development of this coastal area, so government has to keep the development and sustainable way of life all together. Okay, and actionable and law has to be taken place if there is any illegal fishing or anything that is going on. So this is the blue economy which is going to be supported by the coastal economic zone and all together. Okay, now how this all is running is because of the major port authority bill of 2020 that is being intact right now. It is with all of us. Now under the major port authorities bill of 2020, so this was earlier passed in the Lok Sabha. Okay, so here focus is on to provide autonomy to the major port of our country, so that autonomously they can increase their efficiencies and competitiveness, right? So this bill has replaced the Major Port Trust Act of 1963, and right now they are providing more and more autonomy in running the port operation. So here they are focusing on creation of Major Port Authority Board. Okay, so who is going to manage and control the major ports? So they will be replacing all the port trust, and this will be replaced by the Major Port Authority Board. Okay, then some power are being given, like full power, like they can enter into contracts, they can enter into planning, development, tariff fixing. Okay, except if there is in national interest that you have to consult the central government, security and emergency management. Then public private partnership projects. Okay, so whosoever the public private PPP projects are there, you can go and you can enter into contracts on concessional basis based on the board. Okay, so board has a right to set tariff regarding what is going to the charges, logistic charges and various other charges. Then landlord model. So in shift governance in central port to landlord model, where port infrastructure is leased to the private operator while port ownership remain with the authority. That means it is the landlord. That means we are giving you the port on a lease. Okay, so the government ports are being leased to the private operator, and the ownership remains with the authority. The way you go and take the flat on a rent, similarly the ports are also being given on a rent to the private people. Then constitution of educatory body. So the board replaces the tariff authority for major port and then allow the major port to fix tariff and reference tariff for PPP projects. So they are focusing on the modern way of working which is needed of the hour in order to remain competitive in the whole market. So what is the significance? Obviously it has decentralized the decision making. Now it is not being coming from the top, it is coming from the professional people who are running this whole operation. So they will be able to run this whole operation with greater efficiency and proper modernization. Then obviously it will lead to the transparency. It will lead to transparency of the working, because they will be helping in facilitating faster decision making and transparent decision making process. Okay, so automatically it will help in improving the project execution. Then attract the private investment. So since the government is losing their control over this port trust, so automatically the private investment will be coming, because now private company knows that now whatever the decision are to be taken, they are to be taken by them. So automatically it will attract the private sector investment in the long run and medium. Then world class infrastructure will be also developing, because here now the facilities will be developed. Government will be providing all the necessary policy support to the and regulatory support, all the will be provided. So private people will be getting all the support from the government, and this will make India a major port to compete globally in the world. Now we have to talk about the Vavan Port. Vavan port, a very important port on the western coast of our country. So what is this Vavan port is all about? So recently the central government has approved the major port status to the Vavan in Maharashtra. So it is 190 kilometer north of JNPT port. Okay, so we have this here, we have Jawaharlal Nehru Port. So we have here 190 kilometer north of this JNPT. So it is like has been set up as a SPV, special purpose vehicle port. The focus area is to ease down the pressure of the Jawaharlal Nehru Port. Okay, here the JNPT will act as a lead partner, and JNPT will be having at least 50% equity for project implementation. Okay, so why Vavan Port? What is the advantage of this? What is the advantage? So here we are having a 18-meter natural draft and 20-meter navigational channels are there. That means it is a good depth which will require big vessels to stationed over there. Okay, so like we have like JNPT port and Mudra are there, so it is this having a more draft than the capacity of JNPT and Mudra. That means bigger ships of thousands of container capacity can be stationed at Vavan port. Okay, so entrance into the top 10 container port, because Vavan port will be propelled India into a league of country with top 10 container port globally, because this is going to be providing, because it is much better than the JNPT, and because it is providing a natural draft of 18 meter. It can handle larger vessel up to a capacity of 16,000 to 25,000 TEU, 20 feet equivalent units. That means the bigger ship that are running throughout the world can be stationed over here. So it will also lead to economics of the scale and also reduce the logistic cost and easing the spillover traffic. So whatever the spillover traffic was there in JNPT, it can reach to the Vavan port, and automatically a smooth cargo operation can be take place over this whole area. Okay, so this is again a very important port development under the major area, right? Now, what are the recommendations that are being there to enhance our maritime sector? So how we can enhance our marine sector is, first of all, opening up of dredging market. Okay, like here a lot of mud, stones get into the surface of the river and sea where the ships are being anchored, right? So because of that, the water capacity, the water capacity of that area goes down. So bigger ships cannot enter that area because the water capacity has decreased, because too much of mud and stones are there. So this is like cleaning of mud and stone, right? So government should increase the competition of dredging market and let it allow more international player to be participation of that. Okay, so government right now, Government Dredging Corporation of India is the dominant taking part, and very limited private vendor participation is there. So government has to open up this area. Then expedite the Sagarmala project. Government has to enhance this, and the government has to start working on a mission mode and also focus on coastal economic zone to leverage maritime potential. That is what. So here we are providing you with a summary of all the points, right? Then improving business environment, like free on board policy is there, how we can balance the import exporter risk are there, how we can implement the new technologies, and how we can meet with the global standards, right? Then relaxing the cabotage law, so boost coastal shipping. Okay, so these all are being important for improving the business environment of the maritime sector. Then new merchant shipping bill has to be improved in order to improve the business and transparencies, right? Sectors has to be open so that the private player should enter into the market without any fear of the government. Then inland waterway, yet another, is a very potential area which has not been utilized properly, so it helps in providing multimodal connectivity. Again, we have to provide a good amount of finances in order to improve the connectivity of the inland water transport. Okay, so funding gap has to be provided via viability gap funding. Okay, so we have a inland waterway authority India, so proper regulatory authority is there, so we have to streamline the whole process, let the private player to also enter into the market. Okay, so proper, clear and exact direction should be there regarding cargo, crew, vessel, security and everything. So you have to have a very clear rule, so that anybody who wanted to open up or anybody wanted to work in the marine sector should have a proper clear set of rules for all this. Okay, so these are the recommendations to enhance the maritime sector. Now there is a Maritime India vision of 2030. Okay, so very important vision it is. Around 150 initiatives are there that are running here and there in order to improve the maritime sector. Okay, so this was launched in March 2021. Okay, so there were a lot of consultation and everything is happening regarding port, shipyard, inland waterways, on legal expert and everyone. So around they have identified around 150 initiative which is covering all the facets, everything related to the maritime. Okay, everything related to the maritime, whether it is shipping, coastal area, transportation, loading, unloading, exporting, port, anything. Okay, so right now we have a capacity of 17 million 20-foot equivalent unit. Same time, China is having 245 million TEU. So we are very far behind of China as per our maritime sector has been concerned. Okay, so the combined container thought output of a top 20 major global ports stood at 357. Top 20 countries, it is 357 million TEU. So India is not having any landslide megaport or terminal infrastructure. So India is not having. Okay, so India needs a very ultra high container ship which required speedy loading, speedy unloading. Okay, so this is very important needed. So mega port we need and proper transshipment hub for infrastructure modernization. So government is focusing on investing up around 1 lakh crore to 1,25,000 crore rupees, especially focusing on development of the port infrastructure. So under the Vism, Kerala and Vadwana in Maharashtra, which we have already discussed, they have a natural draft of excess of 18 meter. Draft means from top layer of the water how much ships can go down. Okay, so the natural draft of is 18 meter, which is considered very good for a big container ship, so that the big container ship from 18,000 to 25,000 TEU can be stationed at these ports. So this is the natural draft that is being provided. Okay, so government is trying to improve on all these working under the Maritime India vision of 2030. Okay, so this is what our Maritime India vision. Now the last topic that we have to discuss today is Draft Indian Port Bill of 2022. So what is this Draft Bill Port of 2022? So we know that Indian Port Act of 1908 is a century old. Okay, so we need right now a new port bill. Okay, so this is a draft port bill that has been came into the circulation. So the focus area is focuses on integrated planning and consultative. So here state and the central government has to work in a consultative way. Okay, so this is one part of the draft port bill. Okay, because government has to focus on current frameworks, then international obligation, then environmental concerns are there, right? So government has to focuses on this. So here consultation altogether is needed. Then pollution prevention, because you know that lot of environmental tragedies have happened, oil leaks has happened, then lot of cargo terminals are being hit by the various type of ships and various other things. So there has to be aligned with international treaties. Then dispute resolution. So there is a lot of issues relating to disputes. So whenever any dispute happens, we don't know how to tackle this dispute. So there is a need to have a resolution mechanism that has to be devised regarding the port sector. Then transparency and cooperation through data utilization. How we have to go, how we can utilize the data, big data, machine learning, big data, artificial intelligence, how we can utilize for better transparent and cooperation in this whole field. Okay, so the key provision are there, certain key provisions are there in the bill. So let's discuss that. So some of the important key provision of the Indian Port Bill are, first of all, repeal and replacement. So they are trying to replace the 1900 Act, and now they wanted to streamline the whole process with the new act. Okay, then establishment of the national framework. So new state maritime board will be created for better and effective administration and management of the non-major port, because non-major port is being controlled by the state government, right? So again, there is a further enhancement and effective administration that has to be done. Then maritime state development councils has to be developed, because as government is running the concept of cooperative federalism, where a consultation with the state government, central government, everybody has to be taken, union territory has to be taken. So maritime state development council has to be put into the place. Then anything which is of no use, which have been like obsolete, okay, or any, and which doesn't have any relevance to the present world, so they have to remove. So removal and replacement of certain provision or certain unnecessary issues are there. Then updates on penalties. So modernization of penalties, like which reflects the current issues, offenses, amounts, enhancement of the enforcement efficacy, like proper efficiency and proper enforcement can happen regarding that. Okay, then after, so what is expected from this draft Indian Port Bill is that obviously it will lead to the promotion of integrated development, because here we will be working in cooperative federalism way, right? So it will enhance the ease of doing business. Then environmental compliance are there, because a lot of things in this bill are being related to the environmental compliance, so it will help, and it will put more stringent measure in order to control the pollution, more stringent measure in order to control the pollutions that will be there. Okay, so proper dispute like what we call it as, it is aligning with the international standard and obligations, right? Then dispute resolution has to be streamlined. It has to be streamlined. So proper dispute resolution mechanism and framework has to be set into the place. So automatically, once we have a standard dispute resolution that has to be into the place, so automatically the industry will be having a clear idea on what is there and what is not there. Then transparency and accountability, obviously with the help of better data utilization and trust and collaboration, we will be enhancing the transparent operation and accountable operation of the port operation in our whole country. Okay, so guys, this is all for today. I hope all of you have enjoyed the session. Do let me know if you have any issues that I will be clearing of the doubts in your current affairs session. So thank you so much. Bye bye, take care and have a good day.